Thank you to coming to the 20th Pakistan Breakfast at Davos, 21st, hosted by Pathfinder Group. I'd like to welcome all our guests, our chief guests, Shahid Khakan Abbasi. We're very honored to have you. Distinguished guests of the audience, thank you very much for coming. We will lead off with the World Economic Forum. Alex Rafouz over here, member of the executive committee and head of strategy as well. So thank you, Alex. I'll let you say a few words to get us started.
Thank you, Vikram. Thank you so very much. It's truly an honor to be back here and to be building on a great legacy that the World Economic Forum has had with the country of Pakistan, with Ikram and the team that we've been in partnership for a couple of decades now. So it's true, it has been a long time to get us here, but it's also a very opportune time. This conversation, this breakfast, this annual meeting couldn't come at a more intricate time for the global economy in a world of fragmentation. I think we all see the ripple effects of it, and 2025 promises to be a particularly eventful year. So really, Honorable Prime Minister, it's a pleasure to see you and to continue building together on this legacy. We also stretched throughout the year our engagement with Pakistan. We had Prime Minister Sharif, who was a special guest at our special meeting in Saudi Arabia earlier this year. So really working at cross-regional collaboration. And at the forum, I think you all know, we are the international organization for public-private partnership. And we really don't believe that any sector alone can tackle some of the biggest problems that exist in the world. And Pakistan is an incredibly important part of the puzzle we try to fix. We do so through our 10 centers of excellence, one of which is the Center for Nature and Climate. And I know the Pathfinder Group is engaged with us at the Edison Alliance, which is looking to connect over 1 billion unconnected people to of course, the grid, but especially to telecom, agri-tech, health tech, and a variety of uplifting themes and topics. So building on this legacy, we look forward to our continued collaboration and really helping Pakistan continue to raise its profile, as well as making sure that our platform is one of true diversity and inclusion. We were talking with a shaper that you have here in the room earlier today. We have vibrant youth communities in Islamabad and beyond, and we continue to do our work. Again, a big pleasure to working together, and look forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Alex. The World Economic Forum has always been a wonderful partner of ours, and we really appreciate all of your work. I know Merek's not here. Tell him we miss him, but since he's figuratively and literally in the world, too bad. Like I said, next time we have a hologram of him. But thank you, Alex.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Miftah Ismail, former finance minister, twice. Business community as well, and was a former member of the IMF as well. A lot of the economic plans that you see working in Pakistan came through his hard work. So thank you, Mr. Saab, for coming here, and we're very honored to have you.
Thank you, Zara. Thank you, Rampa, for inviting us. I thought it would give a chance to talk here. Normally, the current office holders will speak and breakfast as to the president and Prime Minister Shahid said, or some other Prime Minister. So I think two times, one or two times, the next Prime Minister, hopefully a future Prime Minister. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, the Grandfather has been doing this for 20 years, and the last 20 years or so, Pakistan has been about to take off. But it's a long damn back here. Pakistan is about to take off, and to be very honest with you, Pakistan has all the ingredients of taking off. Except that this thing is not going to take off. It's a very fixed structure. The issue is not the people who are buying and buying. The issue is that our governance model, the infrastructure governance model, is not suited to, or is not geared to taking off, which is geared to muddling around. And that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. We're just muddling around. We've A level. The rest to the Pakistani system does not treat everything to the best. Only the superstars from that system go and do well. But otherwise, Pakistan is going to do well. So we only, because I think it's very well, educate 1% of our children. Unfortunately, those happen to be just 1% of the rich state. They're not the 1% who's talented state. If we had, prepared and taught the 1% most talented kids, they would have gone and done something. But unfortunately, what happens is if you only teach 1% of your kids, very well, the remaining 9% in class, adequate education, 90% of this happen at all. So the country cannot move forward in this day and age when the education is not there. When we go to learn ineffective, it spends a lot of money on education, 1,500 billion per year, but has nothing to show for it. So 8 out of 10 kids in Pakistan can't really read, at 10 years of age, 2 lines adequately prepared. So, one thing is spend a lot of money to because you don't think it's so you talk about this so that's the first crisis. And then with that crisis, of course, there is the health crisis of Pakistan. We are so expanded, and once you finish this country, you also have mental standards. So that's a piece of Pakistan bad. And then there is the population issue. There's the population of Pakistan is very, very bad. But it's actually good when it's an asset, or growth, young population is an asset, as China and Japan and other countries are finding out. But that's just an asset if you actually prepare them. You should have over 8 million babies born, and you have 6.5 million people per year. If we go to channel that kids into productive members of society in Pakistan, we do that on that method. But so far, the government has not been able to do that. And not because any particular government of Shahbaz Sharif or Zimbabwe or anybody has been bad. It's just that the system is not allowing us. And so I think what Pakistan really needs to do, and I'm not talking about the website, Pakistan really needs to do is to change. We talk about reforms, but we really need to fundamentally change the direction of our country. So we started a political party after realizing that the existing party had no interest in fundamental reform, had no understanding. We need to decrease the size of the government, really shape the size of the government. And we could use private sector, we should use private sector, like in for instance, Pakistani airline policy. I mean, that we do the 100 billion rupees a year. And now obviously we could talk about privatization. A few years ago I talked about the fact that if the concept will give it for 1 rupee, and people said, well, we mean what do you want to do? But I knew as finance minister that the liabilities far outstrip the assets of the airline. Nobody is willing to buy. Similarly with distribution, electricity distribution companies. You cannot have one of the highest line losses, transmission distribution losses, and continue with government services. So if you privatize all the electricity distribution companies, privatize all the oil and gas exploration companies, oil and gas distribution companies, we don't have any business running petrol pumps. We should just sell them off. The government should really concentrate on running police and courts. I really don't know what else the government should, Pakistanis should be doing. So our idea is to shrink the size of the government as much as possible. And in private sector, even in public schooling, the government should be giving vouchers to poor children and then they can go to school wherever they want. The only thing that except for the, so we believe in free market and small government, but the only thing is that it is a very poor society where poor people really have no chance. Actually have a serious social justice plan where you give direct cash transfers to the poorest 20, 30 people, percent of the people, so to bring it up to some level, because you can't really teach the kids who have dinner and breakfast. So like school breakfast programs and things like that. All of this is within our reach. We're not talking about exorbitant amount of money. You're talking about the money we already raised and we already spent. So, and in fact, the wrong side of Laffer curve now. Corporate tax is now 61%. Just, it makes no sense. So, I mean, we can really reduce taxes, reduce the size of the government, do some cash transfers and try to utilize private sector, because the fact of the matter is the government, I don't care about the rest of the world, but the government in Pakistan doesn't work. And so, whatever the theory is, we have serious government failures in Pakistan, so we need to reduce the size. That's what our Pakistan is, and I hope one of these days we do this, so then we will finally take off. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saab, and thank you. I agree the need for structural reform should be highest for any government, current or future. Next, I'd like to introduce Ross Perot Jr., chairman of the Perot Group of Companies, the first man to fly around the world in a helicopter, but more importantly, a close friend of ours, both of the families and personally of my father's and mine as well. So we really appreciate you being here. You've always supported Pakistan, and I think just you being here shows how much you care. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor. And I think Ikram and I are talking. I've been, I think, to almost all 20 of the 21 Pakistani breakfasts. I've been friends with Ikram for a long time. And if you've been to this breakfast before, you'll know I always talk about what a great helicopter pilot he is. And then we've been flying together. He comes to see me in Texas and we fly together. I think it'd been 10 to 15 years since you flew a helicopter and I put you in, and right away he hadn't forgotten a thing. So a natural helicopter pilot in Pakistan. And so I'm honored to be here. And I think the key to the relationships between Pakistan and the United States, at the end of the day, it's always, I believe, the best diplomacy is business to business. And I think having our business community close and our business community working together, and if we have the right business relationships, then we can bring prosperity to Pakistan and to let the people of Pakistan that need help have a job and have opportunity. And I'm currently vice chair of the United States Chamber. And so we lead delegations all over the world with American business, promoting American business and promoting good relationships around the world within the business community. And so, Prime Minister, when you are in Washington, I hope you'll come visit us at the United States Chamber and bring a lot of prominent Pakistani businessmen to meet their counterparts in the United States. I am optimistic about, I was at the inauguration over the weekend, and I'm optimistic about the new administration that has started off, very strong, very forward, very aggressive. And I think President Trump will be good for business around the world and promoting American business around the world and promoting relationships with countries like Pakistan. So my view, we have optimism coming up. Communication is always very important, that we always continue to talk and understand each other, and that we continue to promote our business relationships. But thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. And as always, we're honored to have you. And do you, maybe just to ask you, do you think the change in administration in DC would bring about change in relations between Pakistan?
I think, well, I mean, you've got a very high energy president. And it's amazing, he only sleeps 4 hours a night. I mean, he's always on the go, and the people, I was assisting on the transition and trying to find great talent to put in the administration. And what's amazing is my friends are working with them. So, they get a message at midnight and the next message at 4:30 in the morning. So you've got high energy. He knows he's only got 4 years left. He wants to have a strong legacy. He's a businessman. He's pragmatic. He really does want to fix problems. And not being a professional politician coming from the business arena, I think you'll see somebody that wants to get problems fixed. And just look at the 100 executive orders he's already sent out. He's already sending a very strong signal of what he wants to get done. And I think the key for Pakistan is to make sure your diplomats stay very close to our diplomats, and that you keep a very aggressive relationship with our country. President Trump wants to see people. It's been my impression. And he doesn't really like a lot of bureaucracy. And so if you can get right to the president, tell him what you need, tell him your story. If you're credible, he's the kind of president that'll make a decision on the spot and do it, and not wait for lots of committees. And so that's the kind of man that you have. So I think it could be positive, but then Pakistan has to always take the first step and make sure that he knows the agenda that Pakistan needs.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce our chief guest, Shahid Haqqan Abbasi, former Prime Minister and leader of his own party. He's got a long, distinguished career both in business and politics, founded AirBlue, but has served in the government in various capacities as well, head of petroleum as well, but certainly a man that is commended often for something that is lacking in politicians, his honesty, his forthrightness. We're very honored to have you, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's a real privilege to be here, and I'm grateful to Ikram Sehgal Saab and the Pathfinder Group for the opportunity. Normally, you would see a senior government official here, so it's a big change that we have. We have two people here who are not only in opposition, but we're also in opposition to opposition itself. So it's kind of a unique situation. And I was, when Ikram Saab invited me, I was wondering what would I talk about. Because when we go on media, we talk about what ails Pakistan and how bad the government is doing and how bad the country is doing. And but it's not the place to talk about what ails Pakistan. I think we need to look at where the potential is, where the hopes are. And I was told yesterday somebody talked about potential, and he said potential has always been there, but you just have to realize it, you have to exploit it, otherwise it just remains potential. And I think that's been the story of Pakistan. But I would like to talk about the reality of Pakistan and probably what fixes we need. And I am also from a mountainous area in Pakistan, and was coming here, I looked up some data, and I actually had not looked it up before, and it's truly amazing. Davos is the highest town in Europe, 1,600 meters. My hometown, Murray, is 2,400 meters. Mont Blanc, which is not far from here, at 4,800 meters, is the highest peak in Europe. Does anybody have idea how many mountains Pakistan has over that? Over 5,000 meters? No, above, higher than Mont Blanc. How many do we have, do you think? Pakistan has 4,555 mountains above 6,000 meters. 4,555. And the ones above 5,000 meters, higher than Mont Blanc, they've not even counted them. There's countless numbers. Literally, if you go on Wikipedia, it says countless peaks above 5,000 meters. So just imagine the potential. That's the reality of Pakistan. Wherever you go, you see that potential. We just have to realize that potential. I think that's where our failing has been. And it's if we talk about Pakistan, it's been a failure of leadership. Both political, the military has had long stints, and the judicial leadership. And that's what I always push. If Pakistan needs one thing today, it is rule of law. I think that is critical. The supremacy of the Constitution. If we treat the Constitution with some superficial disdain, some contempt, in fact. But the reality is, and that's the reality of the whole world, if you do not have rule of law, if you do not have constitutional rule, the economic improvement, the economic prosperity is very difficult. And that's what we need to fix. Even this year, the people who won the Nobel Prize, it's a pretty amazing, their work is pretty amazing. And they've talked about the post-colonial rules, and what they've really focused upon is that the countries that have prospered in the post-colonial rule are the ones that have had rule of law. That's where Pakistan needs to go. And we need basic reforms. Pakistan, the systems are failing. And today, unfortunately, the political system is not up to meet the challenges. And we have seen major parties are all in power. They all have either a state government, a provincial government, or the federal government, and there's not much improvement. Because if you look at the US elections, the European elections, even in China, you go to China, they all talk of reform and continued reform and continuous reform. Pakistan, unfortunately, does not talk of reform. Whereas the reality is that every system that Pakistan has needs immense reform. Pakistan is, people looking in from abroad do not realize it's the diversity that Pakistan has. Even today, when I travel within Pakistan, I see cultures, I see ethnicities, I see languages which I did not know about. So it's not a homogeneous country, it's really many, many people who come together in that part of geography. So we must be cognizant of, when we work in the political arena, we have to be very cognizant of that situation. And that's where, in fact, it's the diversity itself inhibits reform in the country. That's a very difficult thing. For example, if you take water, Pakistan has 7,000 glaciers, the highest number outside the polar caps. And today, our glacial melt is the highest in the world. So, where the rest of the world prospered and contributed to environmental issues, Pakistan is the one that is paying the price. We have literally floods every year. This year, we have a different situation. We have a drought situation. So, the global warming, the environmental issues are seriously impacting Pakistan today. They're affecting the economy, they're affecting the people, and these are challenges that the world needs to come together to meet. Pakistan, administratively, we've been always, myself and Mr. have been advocates of, we have four provinces which have disparity in size and population, huge disparity. One population is, one province is 2/3 of the population, and another one is 2/3 of the land mass. So there's always the apprehension about the majority province controlling the country. So our solution has always been to break up Pakistan into new provinces, and if not into new provinces, because there are serious local issues which inhibit that. Some are historical, some are ethnic. Our solution has been to devolve power. We have devolved power down from the federal government down to the provincial governments, but now I think it's time to devolve it down to the district level, so the district can compete with the financial authority. So the districts can compete on what the police force works, how good the education is, how good health is, and I think that will create a healthy environment for Pakistan to move forward. The first time we came to Davos was in 1971 with the then Prime Minister. And we were 1991. And at that time, we were the darling of the Davos Forum, because Pakistan had a very successful start to its privatization program. We were, in fact, the first country in the world. The first sale of a financial privatization of a financial institution was done in Pakistan. We sold a bank. 4 months from the start of the transaction to handover. It's been a very successful transaction. There had been no financial institution sold in the world before that. In 1991, the government controlled everything in the country. 450 industries, about 70 corporations, cement, fertilizer, telecom, you name it, the government owned it. Today, we own nothing. So it's been a very successful privatization story, which is not very well told. Then I came here in 7 years back, in 2018, as the then Prime Minister. And there was a very telling small little story there. That year, the star player at Davos was a guy called Carlos Ghosn. Remember him? Head of Renault and Nissan.
Yes.
So there's a round table within the Davos where you bid for tables and who do you want to sit with. There were 10 tables and they're all head of state or head of government who come there, and you can sit with these 10 very influential uh, world individuals. And I think there were like 150 people there, and Carlos Ghosn got like 90 plus bids to sit with him on his 10-seat table. So, and these are all heads of state or heads of government. And can you imagine who Carlos Ghosn wanted to see? Pakistan. Because he saw the potential in Pakistan. So he actually came to see us, and it's a, you see, you must have been there, they're very small rooms. So your knees are knocking with each other when you sit in those rooms within the small space they give you as a country. And I asked him, he said, look, I see potential in Pakistan. So I'm going to bring a Renault plant to Pakistan. I'm already done that. And I'm going to build a Datsun. I didn't know Datsun existed, but it did. And I'm going to bring a Datsun plant to Pakistan. Both of those did not happen because the government changed and the government priorities changed. And we had an accountability process which has inhibited growth in Pakistan. So those things never happened. So again, there's a lot of potential that can be realized in Pakistan, but of course, it will remain potential if we do not reap it. Pakistan has many pluses. We have a very passionate diaspora which literally sustains Pakistan today. They send home money which is equal to our total exports. In fact, if you count the informal channels, the money is probably much larger. So it's the passionate diaspora which sustains Pakistan. And now they're into the third generation, and the relationship has not diluted much. And the only people I kind of compare that to are the Irish in the US. They're very passionate about their home country, which they left like 200 years back or something. So that's a huge plus for Pakistan. But do they invest in Pakistan? Probably not. They invested in real estate, and that has kind of gone south also because of the fluctuation in the exchange rate. But the biggest potential Pakistan has is again something which is not very visible. 2/3 of Pakistan population is below 30. I think it's the biggest youth bulge in the world. Countries are struggling with aging populations. Pakistan has a completely inverse situation. They're enterprising people, but we have to provide them the opportunity. That's the job of the politicians and the people who run things in Pakistan. The youth, you have to provide education to them, the right education. You have to give them business opportunities. Then the basics. These are all basic. There's nothing extraordinary here. And that needs critical position, which we left. And that's why we as Vista decided to branch out because we do not see the current three major parties become arcade. You can look at solving the problem. The thought process or the capacity or unfortunately the integrity to resolve these problems. So we remain optimistic. I mean, there's huge potential, especially in this youth. I think they can turn around Pakistan if given the right opportunity. That's why I think it's very important that this message goes out, especially to our friends who invest in Pakistan and also the Pakistanis. Thank you very much.
75,000 IT graduates every year. Over the last 5 years, there's been a 175% increase in IT exports. We have over 250 plus Education Commission universities that are recognized, a population of 233 million, out of which 192 million are cell phone subscribers, over 120 million broadband. And when you look at those, they dwarf Germany and Japan put together, when you look at some of those numbers. So you see where Pakistan stands in terms of technological growth, in terms of technological improvement. And I think with the right liberalized climate, tax exemptions, a building of the infrastructure, I think Pakistan can really take that leap forward in places that we have fallen behind. Ultimately, we are the home of the world's largest, oldest civilization, the civilization, home to the second highest and third highest peaks in the world, the Prime Minister talked about, home to the deepest seawater port, home to some of the largest salt mines, homes to one of the largest water basins in the world, home to the highest paved road in the world, the Karakoram Highway. This is what Pakistan is, and I've only touched on a few things. Home to the youngest Nobel laureate, home to a double Oscar winner who's here at the World Economic Forum. So you can see Pakistan, we don't need to talk about the potential. We can talk about the reality today. Pakistan, in a lot of ways, is doing extremely well, but I think the things that have been highlighted, poor governance, I think structural reforms, especially economic reforms, and devolution of power. And I think we are in the era where small government is coming back everywhere. I think when you look at the various elections and so forth, I think people have come out resoundingly in the face of that. People want government and a bigger private sector. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody, thank all the guests for coming. We will take questions, but I'd like to thank in particular the Pathfinder staff who put this whole thing together, worked tirelessly. I really appreciate everybody's help. Thank you to Pathfinder staff. Thank you to my father, Ikram Sehgal, who's somebody called the Pakistani Schwab, so we'll go with that monitor. I suppose that makes me Oliver Schwab, but he's slightly better looking. So thank you. We'll pause here for some questions now. If there's a mic, so if people have questions, please raise your hand and we'll bring a mic to you. There's a question right here. Oh, that right. We can go here first and then. Where's the mic?
Hello. Yeah. First of all, Ikram bhai, thank you very much for this wonderful gathering. I represent what Mr. Hakan Abbasi referred to as the Pakistani diaspora. And more specifically, I represent the Pakistani American diaspora. We have a group of our diaspora people who are involved very actively trying to make a change in Pakistan and get the country that we all deserve and we all dream of. I was moderating a seminar at George Washington University a few months ago, and I made a comment there. It will be my question to you also. I was in discussion with somebody from Pakistan a few months ago, and he was telling me that what Pakistan is, just like you mentioned also, is continuity of policy making and governance, which I agree with. And then he gave me an example of India, and he said that look at India, they have quote unquote a fascist government because he believed Modi government is a fascist government, but because they had continuous policy making, the country has done very well economically. And my answer to him was that yes, it's very important to have continuity in policy making, but it's even more important to have legitimacy of a government also. Because if you don't have a legitimate government, but only a continuous government, then you do not become India of the world. You actually become Myanmar or Burma of the world. So my question to you is, Mr. Hakan Abbasi, what do you think the current political stalemate that we have in Pakistan, what is the solution to that? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I really thought the first question would be when will Imran Khan be released? And the answer to that is getting a good education. Jail, yeah. Trust me, I've spent 3 years in jail. With different governments. It's the best education you can have. You have time to reflect. You have time to learn. So for a politician, it's a great place to be. So I hope that he learns. Really, he made a lot of mistakes when he was there. The political stalemate today is it's a very difficult situation. It's very polarized. It's so polarized that it's me and Miftah sitting here and not government officials, right?
Right.
Because Ikram Sehgal Sahab would not want aggressive situation here. It's so polarized. The country is so polarized. The diaspora is totally polarized. So the solution really lies with the leadership. And I say this every day on TV. Pakistan is one country where every day you can go on live TV, national TV, when you're a minister or your opposition leader, whoever you are. There's like 60, 80 programs every day, and they're very, very high viewership, which is the political leadership, the military leadership, and the judicial leadership, who are all stakeholders beyond the constitution in the way our country is governed today. They have to sit down and chart an agenda forward. How will the country run? Because it cannot run the way it is run today. Either you honor the constitution or you do not honor the constitution. You take a very clear view of that thing. If there's an issue with the constitution, let's all sit down and amend it. But there has to be a system of government that needs to run. And then you need radical reform. We need the consensus. No single party can do it. So they need to sit down and work out agenda. And that's the reality of where Pakistan should be going.
Okay, I have to add something to it, please, if I may. You are right that this government does not have the moral legitimacy that a government should have to govern effectively. You're absolutely right about that. But we have to put this in context. A few days ago, friends from PTI came to meet Shahid Abbasi and me in Kitchen House, requesting us to join something called movement to protect the constitution. Movement to protect the constitution. In the Urdu to English initial the TTAP. I said, don't TTAP, we don't have these. But to also look at the history of Imran Khan. So when the leaders came, they said, you guys are like very good faces. Nobody doubts your integrity. Nobody doubts your intelligence. And these guys were saying it with a straight face. These people had put both of us in jail, in Adiala jail. Imran Khan is in the same room that Shahid Abbasi was.
We first name him to go to jail.
By far, okay. So Imran Khan actually put us both in jail, and he knew. I know this for a fact that his attorney general told him that there is no case against them, but he said my narrative would get spoiled if I let them out. So understand the context of where these things are coming from. I mean, yes, you're right. I mean, you're trying to imply that this elections were rigged. They were. But so was the 18 election. 36,000 votes were put in Shahid Abbasi's constituency after 5 o'clock. I know this for a fact. My election agents were actually thrown out. So Imran Khan is not some beacon of hope or Democrat. This is why we have our own party. So when they came to see us, they asked us, you want to go and meet Imran Khan in Adiala? I said, no, I've spent enough time in Adiala. Thank you very much. So history did not start on February 8. And history did not start on May 9th either. History started on 47 or effectively 53, 54 in Pakistan since Ayub Khan actually asserted himself. And we know we've not mentioned this, but we are dominated, our politics is dominated by the military. And Imran Khan from 2010 to 22 was their darling, was their child. And in 2014, he did a dharna, which was against all democratic norms. There was absolutely no reason to do that. So this man also utilized it. So when he says that we hope we learn, because I remember when we were in NAB, we were both in solitary confinement, in a very small room in a solitary confinement for 50 days. I read about 17 books in that time. And then one of the things I used to do is he would send me books and I would send our cells were across the room. So he would send me books like 40 Rules of Love. I would send him books like, Stiglitz or the Abhijit Banerjee and Duflo's, Poor Economics. Then I realized that if I teach him all economics, then what's my use? Then he would say 40 Rules of Love. I'm like, I'll send him some, romantic novel, nothing novel also. But he would write to me these notes that, you will learn a lot in jail. And one day I got sick. I said, I don't want to learn more in jail, man. I want to get out. So when please support Imran Khan. And he is the most popular leader in Pakistan, and he has the biggest political party in Pakistan. But also ask people you support to also be democratic, to also have integrity, financial integrity. Why is it that after 36 years in politics, the child has stolen one single penny? Why is it that anybody cannot say about his wife? To question that also. And then you should also tell Muslim League that they were talking about vote ko izzat do. He and I went to jail because of that. And today, where is that vote ko izzat? This is why we have the new party. So I just wanted to say this. Actually, let me just say one other thing. Sorry. I apologize. But I want to disagree with him. That this is a good thing about our party, we can. When he said that we privatized a lot, he in 1991, when you were privatizing chairman, right? Privatization in the commission. 91.
Head of financial sector.
We were able to privatize things in 4 months. You know the new rule, if you go everything by the book, it takes 462 working days, which means forever in Pakistan, because there is, it does. The point is that, we've made such rules that now you cannot not privatize. In this century, since 2000, not a single entity has been privatized. So yes, we have very few companies, but those 15, 20 companies are major part of the market value of the Karachi Stock Exchange. That's all.
Thank you. There's a question back there. Mike, please. And please just, if we can limit it to a question as opposed to a statement. So.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahar Banu Jamali and I am from Balochistan. My name is Shahar Banu Jamali and I am from Balochistan. I am a global shaper of Islamabad. Global Shapers Community is an initiative of the World Economic Forum. And every year there is a youth representative that does come to Davos from Pakistan. This year I'm proud to share that there are 2 youth representatives from Pakistan. But my question is particularly for Mr. Miftah and Mr. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, that how do we restore youth optimism in Pakistan today when we are talking about youth being the future of Pakistan, but particularly in light of being a Baloch woman and not feeling represented, the Baloch insurgency particularly, but also as freelancers when we're looking at internet outages, when we're looking at the political volatility in Pakistan, when we are looking at these declining human indicators. So I am curious, while there are youth representatives who want to do more, but how can we restore that optimism within ourselves? And how can we be part of the conversation? Because like we said, we are 65% of Pakistan, but unfortunately, I also feel that the room does not reflect that. So I would really like that question to be answered. Thank you so much.
I think you touched on something that is really the solution for Pakistan, the youth. The way forward for Pakistan is to build that potential that which it has, the youth of Pakistan. And like I said, the political leadership and the others, we literally failed the youth of Pakistan. That's been the worst story there. Balochistan is a special place. Like I said, it's almost 2/3 of Pakistan's landmass. It has a lot of mineral potential. It has a lot of a large coastline. It borders 2 countries. So it's got, again, a lot of potential, as we say, but it's not been exploited. The Baloch youth today feels disenfranchised because we've always looked at Balochistan from a security perspective. I've had the opportunity to work with the people, the politicians of Balochistan when we were in opposition to Imran Khan, and we built up an alliance called the PDM. And I was very surprised at the depth of the real Baloch politician. People like Hasil Bizinjo, Dr. Abdul Malik, who truly represent the aspirations of the people of that country. It's a area dominated by feudal sardars. Their word, their clout matters a lot. But then you have people like who are probably the best politicians in Pakistan. They have ideology, they've lived to that ideology, and they've sacrificed, they paid the price, and they continue to push for democracy. For example, when we talk of today, nobody in Pakistan talks of the constitution. There's only one man, and he's from Balochistan. He's a Pathan from Balochistan, Mahmood Khan Achakzai. All he talks of is the constitution. And if I can recall correctly, at least on 7 occasions, we have declared him a traitor, officially, by the state of Pakistan. So the Baloch youth, like the other youth of Pakistan, they want their mandate to be honored, they want respect, they want a good education, they want a job, and they want business opportunities. And in Balochistan, honor is very critical. So the Baloch also want to be honored. And that's all. These are basic human needs that I think we fail to deliver to them. That's the reality. And if you really ask me one thing, as I said before, Pakistan's potential is its youth. We need to work on them, and they will deliver Pakistan into a very progressive and very economically prosperous country.
We'll take one more question. You can take it.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. So first, thank you for actually having refreshingly honest conversations today. So finally, thank you for that. My question would be, we've been talking about the potential for like years and years and years, but we've not been able to capitalize on it. You talked about the outsized problems and the need for reforms across all areas. So knowing the system inside out, what is your playbook? What are the first 2 things? I mean, to keep it simple, what are the fundamental 2 things that we should start from, where the country should start from, to start bending the curve towards the right direction? I think because we cannot solve everything together.
Okay. Shahid Saab will answer that, but let me just start with a few things. Look, we think that the government of Pakistan has failed to deliver any services to the people, be it education, health, water, civil services, and all that. One of the first things we will do is actually take power to division and district levels. Okay. Whether or not you make legal new provinces is irrelevant if you give them divisions and districts enough power. So police, waters, basic civic services, sewage, roads, education, and health should be given to the local government. Take Balochistan for example. Balochistan gets more money per head than any other province. Okay, Balochistan will this year get about 1,300 billion rupees from the federal, 1,200 billion rupees from the federal government. Okay. But the corruption in Balochistan is something that people in Sindh can only dream about. I tell you this. I mean, next level corruption. You can, for the money that we give Balochistan, we can give every Baloch family, every Balochistan family, 12,000 rupees per month. If you did that and, take away half the government of Balochistan, you will change the economics of Balochistan. But we, again, we think about Reko as a resource. We think about, gas as resource. No, the biggest resource are Baloch Pakistan people at themselves, and Pashtun and Balochistan living themselves. But give them authority, give them autonomy, give them, power. This is right now for government of Pakistan. The state of Pakistan has made significant mistakes in the last 70 years in Balochistan. Nobody denies this now. But we've not let Balochistan be. We've manipulated elections there. And so we've alienated our own people. So, I mean, if we devolve power to the local government, that's the first thing we think. Second is, there are some budget structure issues like NSC award. We need to change that. But then we need to also understand that we only have one resource. We don't have any other natural resource. Forget about gas, oil, all of that. We only have one resource, that is the human resource. That we need to cultivate. That takes 20 years. It's like a copper mine takes 5 years, a human being takes 20 years. Give them 20 years of good education and you will see the potential coming. So it's a long haul, 20 years. But you give them good education, decent health, In 20 years, Pakistan will change. In 20, 30 years in the life of a country is not a big deal. In 1990, Pakistan was 50% richer than India on a per capita basis. Today, we are 40% poorer. It's only 30, 40 years. This is where we've lost our way. We regain our way back. We'll be, back in 20, 30 years. It's not a big deal. But 20 years, it's what we will require.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me just,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, let me just start off on a lighter note. So we were in jail and there's a small meeting and Mr. Saab declared himself to be the Maiman Mandela.
Humility
So-
is not one of my
Yeah.
forte.
So, but then he's a pragmatic man, so he immediately qualified it. He said, I'm 28 days, not 28 years. But he served 28 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a pragmatic man. You asked a question which is really the crux of the whole matter. How do we move forward? There are no miraculous solutions. There's no miracles happening. We are the people who kind of believe in miracles, we do this and it fixes everything. It won't happen. Start, like I said in the beginning, start with the basics. Number one is rule of law. If you do not have rule of law, you have nothing. So if you have rule of law, you will have political stability. If you have political stability, you can have stability of policy. If you have that, the economy will grow. If the economy grows, people will prosper, the youth will prosper. So it all flows from that basic thing, the rule of law. That's where we should go.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll just finish with a word of thanks.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. First, I would like to start with thanking the World Economic Forum for having supported us so long, Alexander, Aditi, that your constant support. Not here, Andrew, please convey to everybody what. And we are, the commitment is both ways. See the commitment to you, and even our events, there will be somebody there. In fact, Oliver will be there and then be there tomorrow. Kelly will be there at the digital launch. So that's a tremendous commitment. Thank you, World Economic Forum. Thank you, Miftah Saab and Shahid, because Shahid and myself go back a long way, of course. His father was a friend of mine, but more important, was my commanding officer, the bravest I have ever seen in my life. The line, actually in 1971, in the desert, when everything else collapsed, I always to him, particularly after, because he was one man who was really, really a remarkable person. And obviously, Shahid himself is somebody that, this thing, I do remember his MS at that time telling me that he does not leave anything lying on his desk as Prime Minister. He clears everything before he goes home. That was a wonderful thing to do, because I know a lot of Prime Ministers who don't have anything on their desk and do nothing. Ross, what can one say? More than 2 decades of friendship, and you honor us always by being on the stage, and and I see this particularly at this time when Pakistan needs friends like you in Washington, and needs for people in Washington to understand that we don't want the Indian Ocean becoming a Chinese Ocean, and the only in Pakistan, right? Make sure that we are engaged from both sides. We'd like to be friends with the Chinese, we'd like to continue our friends with Chinese, and we'd like to have a good relationship with the United States and the West. So that way, being here and symbolically making such a... I'd like to thank my son. Obviously, I said something. Life, I would like to be like him, rather, than vice versa. I'd like to thank my friends from CGS who are here, and of course, Ayaza, Nadra Panjwani, a lot of other people sitting in the audience. I am very specially touched because Mohammed is here. One of my best friends died a month or so ago, and he was always here. is here. So, Imran, I really miss Imran because Imran to be a part of this Pakistan breakfast. Thank you, Mohammed, for being here. Thank my friends from this chamber and Dr. Ying, etc., and everybody else. And I want to thank my staff who have worked very hard. You can see everything here has been set up. And I'd like to thank Tony Morosani for being so cooperative with us in giving this room at the right time. So I will just request, before everybody goes away, a group photograph. I'd like my family to come, if they can, and just have a group photograph so that people don't come. Okay. Please keep sitting. You just come at the back. Come at the back. Come at the back. Come. आ जाओ ना नसीम. Hassan. Go from this side. Go from this side. Go from this side. Hassan, go from this side. Hassan, go from this side. Okay, chale. Okay. No. Thank you. And now if I request my staff to come up, please. Just one, be a little patient, I request you. My staff to come up. My staff to come up, please. Yeah. आजा नहीं no आजा थैंक यू अच्छा उधर से आजा उधर से आजा उधर आ जाओ ना लड़कियां उधर आ जाओ दो लड़कियां इधर खड़ी हो जाओ ठीक इट्स ओके चली जाओ दो जाओ इधर खड़ी हो जाओ चलो ओके उधर देखो